Having a 42-year-old unmarried shut-in living with us is so freaking dumb. At first, I thought you were coming here in order to take care of us, but all you've been doing is sitting in that room of yours. I can't believe you even have to live here at your family's house when you're still 42. Are you not embarrassed? First of all, I'm 41 right now. Who cares what difference 1 year makes when you're that age? An old hag like you needs to get lost. Say that all you want, Danny, but this is my family's house. You guys were the one who got married out of nowhere, and before you guys were even a thing, I had things going on in my life. What? Annoying. You are always such a gloomy person, and it shows by the way you text me here. Let me just tell you something right now, Jill, since I have your eyes right now. Normally, people are leaving their parents' house when they're in their 20s and don't stick around as long as you have. Most people end up going to college as well, so they're out of their parents' place and in a dorm before they're even 20. Yet when it comes to you, Jill, how old are you really? I told you I'm 41 years old right now. That's absolutely right. In other words, you've been preparing to leave your parents' house for the past 20 years now, right? However, I'm not so sure you actually have been, since you're still acting like this house is all yours. I think you should start worrying about how you look to everyone else around you, Jill, because you're looking very parasite-like. Hold on one moment. I'm starting to believe there is some kind of a misconception here. Right now, I'm not leeching off my parents' house, and I'm actually here supporting everyone. Which means that there is no way I can just get up and leave this house like you've asked me to. That was quite a good lie you had there. Could that point to something else about you? Maybe the inside of your head is less brains and more hot air. You really think you're helping your family out right now? Do you think I have no idea what's been going on in your family this whole time? But I'm telling the truth. And it's not that I don't think you have any clue. Rather, I want to know what you do know about my family. What I know is that you, Jill, have been living in your parents' house this whole time as a parasite and a single old hag. But that's only natural, right? Had you gotten married like a good little girl, you would have been out of here by now and with a man. But all I've heard from your family is that you just sit in that room all day long playing video games. I'm going to be blunt with you here. Is there a reason for you to be alive anymore? Excuse me? Why am I having to hear crap like that from you, of all people, right now? Now, let me tell you something that I hope sets your mind straight. I am not some shut-in who plays video games all day. I just told you what I'm doing here. I'm supporting my family. I get that I'm in my room all day, so you have that right, but the rest of what you're saying about me is all wrong. I'm sorry about that. So you're one of those people now. What do they call you? Family security guards? I guess you've always been protecting this house from all the scary monsters in your video games. It really is special that we have a shut-in in this house who is taking care of all of us. I just told you that is not the case at all here. And who the heck says something like a family security guard? Are you really in your 20s right now? Actually, if you're going to talk to me like that all the time, I have something I'd like to ask you. Why would you get married to my little brother when you guys have such an age gap? You derailing our conversation like that isn't all too kind of you, because I have to rethink everything I was about to say. Well, it's fine, Jill. I'll give you my answer. You and I both know that I would never have been able to marry a man his age without the love we share, right? And I must say, your little brother, he's a wonderful daddy for me. I already know that with my looks, I could get any man around my age, but getting someone closer to the age of my dad? Well, that was a tricky game for me to play. Sure, he was in love with me the moment he laid his eyes on me, but it took a while for me to consider him. But after realizing that I love him too, I fell into his arms. So if it wasn't for love, why else would we have gotten married? What about money? There's also the fact that you might be wanting to get this house from my parents someday. We all know that my brother is getting up there in age and is almost 40 now, which means there is close to a 20-year age difference between you and him. With almost a 2-decade gap, are you guys really able to talk to one another often? When it comes to what we talk about, all I have to do is talk about the things he likes. Now, would you please stop making fun of my ability to communicate with an older man? In other words, you guys aren't naturally talking to one another. But that makes total sense since you were raised in different times pretty much. Is that really the kind of marriage you want to have for the rest of your life, Danny? Wait, what was that? Are you trying to suggest that your younger brother and I get a divorce now or something? I'm sorry to say this, but I am not going to let go of my husband. Between him and I, there is a very deep love that we share. Wait, I don't really care about the relationships of other people normally. This time, I was just wondering how things were going between you two, and it kind of helps me with my job a little. Knowing how couples talk to one another and such. I also wanted to know what you thought it was like being married to an older man and how you feel you've been viewed by those around you. This was a good chance for me to ask about that, so thank you for answering me. Jesus, you really are taking your job as the family security guard very seriously there, Jill. You're wanting to talk about relationships within the household and about how I feel about your brother to make sure he's safe. But let me tell you something. Protecting and caring for your brother is my job now. You should be more than aware of that now, right? I can't believe you. I feel like you've really taken that self-proclaimed job of yours a little too seriously. Listen here, I understand that I'm in my room a lot of the time, but don't start calling me the family security guard. Are you sure you're not confusing me for some kind of a nerd? I am not in here playing video games all day or watching movies. I am in here taking my job very seriously and making sure that I get all of my work done each and every day. Aha, that's totally right. I'm so sorry for thinking anything besides that. But you can cut it out now with all of that. All I care about right now is when you will be getting out of this house. Are you trying to hint at you moving into this house with us? I don't want to live there with you. How about you read what I'm typing instead of going off topic again? The only reason I'm asking all of this is because I want you to leave that house as soon as possible. I'll have you leave that house within the next month or two, and then I'll be moving into there with your brother. What do you think you're saying, Danny? Tell me, what has my brother said to that idea? Well, if you'd like to know, Reed has agreed with me and wants the same thing. By the way, that guy would never be able to say no to any of my ideas. I mean, that guy knows just as well as the rest of you that he's not cut out for me, so it wouldn't be crazy if one day I grew bored of him and just left. So he's always trying to suck up to me and keep me by his side. Is it really healthy for you to have a mindset like that about your relationship? As someone who's never been in a relationship before, I don't want to hear it from you. Well, I'm sure you don't. I don't know a whole lot about things like relationships, so I still have plenty to learn. If only you were 20 years younger, Jill. Then a comment like that would actually be kind of cute. But hearing an old hag saying that right in front of me, I'm surprised I'm not vomiting yet. Yeah, all right. Anywho, if you're really wanting to come to my family's house to live here, then let's make sure to have a proper discussion about it next time. And if we're able to come to an understanding, then you can come live here with my parents and I for good. The one who should be worried about continuing to live in that house or not is you, Jill. I've already told you what I want from you, and that's your butt getting out of that house as soon as possible. There is no reason for us to have any discussions about this when everyone already thinks the same thing as me. I am giving you 1 week now to get out of that house. Wait, you can't be serious. Didn't you just say you'd like me gone within a month? Also, we have to have a conversation about something as impactful as you moving in and me moving out. If you don't start listening to what I want to say, then you're going to be the one regretting this decision. Shut the hell up, you old hag. You really think threatening me with the old "you'll regret it" stick is going to work on me? Just shut up and get out of that house already. I'm trying to tell you that something like this isn't going to work out in the end.
Come on now, Jill, look. Were you saying some really mean things to Danny just a second ago? Is there something really that wrong with you? You're 20 years older than she is almost, and yet you act far more immature than her. I bet it's because all you do is sit around in Mom and Dad's house, never doing anything with your life besides gaming. Has not leaving their house for so long shrunk your heart to microscopic size?
Huh? Reed, I haven't said a single thing to her today that was mean. What the heck was she telling you?
She told me that you don't want to leave Mom and Dad's house at all. And that when she brought up the fact that she wants to move in with them, you started telling her that she'd regret living in their house without paying any rent. To me, that sounds like you threatening her. I don't care that I'm your brother. If you're going to start hurting my little Danny, I'm not going to forgive you.
Huh? I never said anything like that to her. I wasn't even saying anything that was going to hurt her. Actually, the only person being intentionally hurt that whole time was me after all the things she said.
Is that right? Then tell me right now what she was saying to you then.
Not only was she calling me a 42-year-old hag, but she also started to call me a single shut-in. She then went on to say me living in this house at my age is crazy and that I should be embarrassed by it.
I see. I'm sorry to say this, but all of those are facts, right? And I have to agree with what she was saying to you, Jill. I think you being 41 and still living with your parents is a pretty crazy and shameful thing.
Reed, what the heck are you going on about right now? Don't tell me you forgot the reason for why I'm here right now. Both Mom and Dad got into some extreme debt and needed help with it pronto. They asked the both of us for help, but before they could even finish explaining themselves and what happened, you ran off and never came back, right? Yet after a while of being off the grid, you just decided to come back and act like you own this family.
That's all bits and pieces of the past now, Jill. Back then I was young and didn't know any better. I also happen to be the little brother, so I just assumed you'd do something to handle everything for them.
And that's what I've been doing, Reed. But you never ever seem to understand that I have things going on in my life that have led to this point, and a lot of those things have been caused by you.
Are you serious? You know it's kind of uncool to be crying about the past and acting like I should be sorry for it. I'm pretty sure you always bringing up things like that all the time is why you're still single, right?
What did you say? The reason I am 41 and still single is because I have never had any time to do anything besides take care of this family thanks to you. Back before you ran off, I had plans to finally go overseas and study at school in Denmark, and I even had my visa ready. But you just ran away from Mom and Dad, so I had no choice but to stay here and take care of them. And now I've been stuck here paying everything off for them.
All right already. I really don't care for your sob stories. They are all seriously uncool. Sorry that you had to be born the older sister and have parents stuck in debt, but that's not all my fault, right? That's just the way things are for you and for all the other older sisters in this world.
But you're the man of the family, Reed.
I might be, but I have an older sister in the family who can take care of everything for me. And all I've ever been told in life is that the oldest takes the burdens of the family while the youngest gets to do as they please.
What the actual hell? Whoever has been telling you things like that must be a spoiled brat. Honestly, you haven't changed one bit from the Reed I knew years and years ago. All you did was go out and grow a bit older before coming back to cause chaos again.
But I have myself a young and beautiful girlfriend now, right? I've come to learn that I'm a very good-looking guy, because I was able to get someone half my age and as hot as she is to sleep with me all the time.
Wait, you guys aren't even married yet? She was telling me before that you guys tied the knot and that she's your wife now.
She just likes to say that to keep all the other women away from me because I'm just that good-looking.
Well then, that means you're almost 40 yourself, yet haven't been married yet. And something must be going on there between you two, right? I mean, she's almost 20 years younger than you, so there can't just be love involved in your choice. What else is there?
Stop trying to compare me to someone as shameful as you. The reason why I've been able to land myself such a young woman is because of my looks and my hard work. Look, I've been working for almost 20 years now, right? So I have all of that money saved up in my account ready for her to spend. That house Mom and Dad are in will soon become mine, so I'm like a sugar daddy to her.
You're gravely mistaken, Reed. Because that house you bring up that you think is yours, you threw away on your way out, right?
What are you going on about now? All I did was leave the house to go and live on my own and grow. But I'm still the man of the house, which means that I'll be getting the house next from Mom and Dad, right?
Huh? I thought you just said you're the little brother and everything was up to your older sister to take care of. Stop acting like everything is in your favor here, bud. You can't just change your title whenever you feel like it. Either you're the little baby brother or the man of the house, but not both.
You could call me a man of wisdom, all right? Well, so be it. Because of me leaving that house for a while and all of you guys behind, you were able to live in that house with Mom and Dad rent-free, right? You don't have any rights to that house, so if it wasn't for my kindness, where would you be at right now?
Are you frickin' kidding me?
However, that rent-free lifestyle you've grown to enjoy is coming to an end now. So get the hell out of my house.
If you really want me out of this house, then why don't you come say that to my face? I want to see what kind of balls you've developed after leaving your family, and that will decide whether you get this house or not. Danny, what the hell do you mean you threw all of my things away? Why the hell would you do that? I thought I told you already, right? You had 1 week to get all your things together and get out of the house. Yet after a week, it didn't seem like you'd be getting out of the house, so I had to become a bit more pushy is all. I made sure to put all of your things into trash bags and throw them into an industrial dumpster. The garbage truck already came by, but if you make a break for the landfill, I'm sure you'll be able to find some of your things. You bitch, not only have you come into someone else's house in order to force them out, but you threw all of their things out as well? What the hell are you thinking? I told you already. How many more times am I going to have to say this to you? I wanted you out of this house, yet you didn't budge. Luckily, I figured out the one time each and every week that you leave the house, so I aimed for that time today to make my attack, and just like I'd come to understand, you weren't home. I see. But asking me to leave right now, that's pretty much impossible. Because you don't have anywhere else to go. Well, you'll have nowhere else to go, and sleep tonight isn't any of our problem. Your brother and I are taking over your parents' house now, so you go be homeless somewhere else. I see. So that's the way things are going to be here. Well, I fully understand now. Go ahead and start doing whatever you'd like. Oh, is that really okay with you? You settled with this a whole lot quicker than I expected you to. I knew that someone as gloomy and weak as you was never going to be able to stand up to a couple as rich as your brother and I. It's fine. I'll buy my own house. I have a place I've been thinking about staying at for a while now, so I'll go there for the time being. I am dying of laughter right now, watching you try to act all tough. You really think you're buying a house for yourself now? You don't have to believe whether I can or can't. Now, the best of luck to you and my brother after today. Wait, Jill, where are you right now? Wait, why are you with a foreigner right now, living with them? I already heard about everything from him about you. You came to my place looking for me or something? And just before I could get inside and start looking around, that man went and kicked me out of there in a rage. You explain to me right now what is going on there. I'd really like you to explain to me what's going on with you first. Why exactly did you come all the way over to my place? And how did you even find out where I've been living now? To tell you the truth, when I was throwing all of the things in your room out last month, I found a piece of paper with some memos written on it, and some of them were addresses for different houses. At first, I didn't really think anything of those memos, but then I started to think if one of those places was where you moved to, it would be good to know in case I ever needed some money. That's kind of why I came out today looking for you, and then I ran into that massive house. What the hell is all of that about? You really are the most greedy bitch of them all. Well, what you saw was exactly that. The house my man and I bought is a mansion. I have no idea how that could be. How could some old hag of a shut-in like you be able to afford such a place? I believe I've told you this before, right? I was never just some shut-in at my parents' house. I've been working a very good job and was using that money before to help support my family. I'm sure you figured that out pretty soon after I left, and that's why you came looking for me now. That's exactly right. What were your parents talking about when they said that they were in some serious debt still? And I never heard from anyone that there have been plans to have that house torn down and the land sold. Well, you never listened to me, so I didn't think there was much of a point in saying anything. I did say before, though, that I wanted to talk about everything in person first. Yet instead, you guys acted behind my back and threw away all the things in my room before kicking me out. I don't care what happens over there anymore because I already went and did my part. But I did all of that thinking you were just some nerdy shut-in loser. Yet you were actually the one paying for the house and your parents the whole time? How was I supposed to think you could be someone like that when you were the way you were? I can't believe you're getting all upset at me now. I wasn't the one who told you not to listen to any of what I'd been saying, right? That was your own self-conscious telling you that. Also, my brother should have been well aware of the fact that my parents were in some serious debt before kicking me out. And I am telling you right now that neither of us knew that. Which is wild because I told both of you about it before you threw all my things out. Well, at least with the land being sold, they won't have to worry about being in debt anymore, right? I can't believe this is all happening right now. The reason my parents were in so much debt in the first place wasn't all their fault, so I felt I needed to help them pay it off instead of running away like someone did. But I made sure that they paid off half of that debt so I could focus more on paying the bills for them and feeding us. I was actually getting kind of tired of having to put most of my money into their debts and house, so you and Reed coming in and kicking me out of there really saved me. Please don't joke around right now. If you were always paying for this place and your parents, you can come back here right now. And you can start to support Reed and I as well, just like you'd been doing for your parents, all right? You are the oldest after all. You were the ones who kicked me out, right? You can also see now that I have my darling, and we've begun living in this massive and modern mansion together. So there's absolutely no reason for me going back to that house to start handing away my money again. So you've never been just some single shut-in? You still think that I am? To tell you the truth, I've had a boyfriend for a very long time now. But due to the fact that my brother ran off and left me with my moneyless parents, I had no choice but to move in with them and care for their needs, which led to us having to wait on the whole marriage thing. That doesn't mean we weren't talking to one another, though, as we'd call all the time and talk about our future together. But Jill, you were always sitting in your room doing nothing. And remember how you said I would leave the house once a week at the same time on the same day? That was the time you and Reed broke into my parents' house and tossed all my things, right? Wait, so you were going out to... That's right. Him and I would meet once a week at the same time, and there was never any problems between us with that. He had a big boy job as well, so he was always busy with that. Which meant the time we chose to meet always stayed the same. But having you both go into my parents' house and force me out really changed things for the better. Because now we're living in this huge mansion, and he and I can see each other all day, every day. Then, wait, what's your job, Jill? You were always in your bedroom, so how were you making that kind of money? I'm a writer. And not just any writer, but one of the top 10 most famous writers in the U.S. As a writer, it's pretty normal for me to just sit in my room doing my job without having to leave at all. I'm also making more than most people my age, enough to buy this house even. Huh? So that's what you've been doing? I've always been a writer, writing stories about the world. I've always wanted to travel. Those dreams have been on hold for a long time, but at least by making these stories, I can feel as though I've been on plenty of adventures. Luckily, through one of my online classes after I got out of college and had been working for a bit, I grew to know my language teacher. He's a polyglot, which means he can speak quite a lot of languages. He's traveled the world at least 24 times now and has been teaching me many languages to help me prepare for our first trip overseas together. Hold on a second! What about all of us here? I married your brother thinking that I'd get to spend all his money and have this house. How things turned out now weren't a part of the plan. Come back here right now and help us! I knew that was your goal. I'm sure you can already tell, but I'm not going back there. You and my brother are both the worst, which is why I just can't. But hey, at least both of your crappy characters go well with one another. So please, both of you continue to rot away there on your slow and painful journey to hell. After that, both of my parents had the house planned for demolishing, and soon everyone had to get out of that house and move away. Neither of my parents wanted Reed or Danny going with them, and so they left early morning to move out of town to a smaller apartment, leaving them to become homeless. They then made another move on our house, trying to force their way in so they could live with us. But as my brother put one foot through the door, my husband went and slammed it on his leg, shattering it. He then called the police, reporting them both as home invaders, so when the police showed up, both Reed and Danny were taken away swiftly. I heard that a couple of weeks after they were taken away, they started living with my parents again in their small apartment, after they had already paid Reed and Danny's bail. Thankfully, with the law being involved with them now, I no longer have to worry about either one of them coming here again and can relax. My husband and I have a trip to Europe coming up pretty soon, so I have to start practicing my French and German a bit more with him, meaning there's no time for me to care about that family anymore.